everyone, I'm out in the garden. I want to beat the rain. So I want to give you a quick garden tour. The progress, the garden's been going very well, but we've had a ton of rain that I did not expect to have this much. Last year we didn't have this much. I normally do not mulch until the end of June according to our budget because the mulch is rather expensive and I need a bale of hay also. I may have to do it before that. So there is money in the luxury recreational fund that I can use, which is what I use for gardening anyway. So here is our huge, for a small garden in the city, this is kind of huge, strawberry patch. And every day I'm out here picking strawberries. As you can see, there's one almost ripe right there. But we've had so many ripe strawberries. It's crazy. I'm trying to get a perfect one. This is a small one. Let's see. Here's a perfectly shaped strawberry. Now over here, I was supposed to grow pumpkin. I created my hills. You see they're about 3 feet apart there. This is butternut squash. I planted butternut squash. I thought, sure, I bought some pumpkin seeds, but instead I bought butternut squash seeds. But I have another spot right here. Now my plan is to use part of the hay bale that I buy and maybe plant a pumpkin plant if I can get one at Oakland Nursery on top, because I would love to have pumpkin. That's what we normally grow. And they did not affect the strawberries at all, growing them so close together. So I don't think it's going to be a problem, but normally you do not grow squash with strawberries. I'm limited on space. Actually, I'm limited on ground that is tilled. As you can see, we have a lot of grass. And tilling is hard. Don't have a tiller, so I have to use a shovel. I'll grow whatever I can, and I try to make them good companions. In this case, they may not be the best companions, but it worked last year. We did have some problems with the pumpkin plants themselves. The strawberries, it never affected the strawberries. They didn't get overshaded because, well, they were already harvested. And the vines just spread out. They didn't overshade the strawberry plants at all. So as you can see, the strawberry plants came back and they're doing this year. It wasn't affected by growing so close to the pumpkins. Now we're going to go over here to the sweet potato patch. And I planted sweet potatoes here, 12 of them, 12 sweet potato plants. These came from Oakland Nursery at a fairly good price, but every year they seem to go up in price. Now I need to learn how to grow these, where you put the potatoes in water and they grow the roots. Yeah, I can learn to do that eventually here. And here I noticed a kale came back from last year. I planted kale here and I need to till this garden. This, I see the ivy's taken over. We've got some perennials through here also. They come up every year. We've got a couple ferns. Originally I did not grow any vegetables back here, but the ivy has been a problem. It's beautiful, but it just takes over. But that one, I just noticed that one little kale plant that was reseeded from last year, and I just noticed that today. Now talking about reseeding, here's a little perennial that reseeded. How cute is that? If you haven't started a garden yet, I encourage you to do so, especially if you're in one of the northern states. I'm here in Ohio, and there's so many plants that we can even grow by seed, that we can sow by seed in the month of June. Like there's corn and green beans and cucumbers. Those are just 3 of them, but there's lots of flowers too. Nasturtium, which is great, a great pollinator for squash plants. And you can grow all your squash plants now by seed. You can still grow zucchini too. Grow all of them by seed. Just try to keep them protected in some way. And I'm not the best at that, but I watch over them every day. You could put like a little barrier around them of some sort to protect them from squirrels. Speaking of squirrels, I've had that problem. I'll show you in a moment, something to do with my corn plants. You can see I put some fencing. This is just little cheap wooden fencing we got from Lowe's. I put this around the corn rows. And we've got 4 corn rows here. For us, this is a big to-do. We only grew 2 last year, and we had corn in our freezer all winter long. So I was surprised how much corn we got last year. Now I haven't fertilized this yet, so it's thriving anyway, but I do need to fertilize the corn. And I have some bone meal I'm going to put in with the water when I water these for their fertilizing. But I will use what I used last year, which worked perfectly, which was sardine juice that I poured into each gallon. And I'll need 2 gallons to fertilize this and I'm only going to fertilize it like 3 times. So I need to give it a treatment for sure. But there are, as you can see, there are bare spots in between where the corn's growing. And there's one that I just planted some seeds just a few days ago, and it popped up already. I think it was 5 days ago. Because the squirrels had trampled through here. And that's why I put up the fencing, to deter them from running through here. Okay, over here, I planted butternut squash. And there's one starting to come up on that hill. I planted 2 hills, 3 feet apart. And there's 2 babies coming up right there. Back there, I did plant some sunflower seeds. I see only one has came up. There's one little sunflower coming up, and there's a weed I need to pull. Now, look at this. These are soybeans. These are soybean plants. They are doing very well. But the soybeans, I'll be researching recipes and how to cook them. I've never grown them, but it's a great protein source. And I need that because I'm flexitarian. We have zucchini hills here. And the zucchini's doing very well. Nothing has bothered this garden at all. There were a couple that were knocked down, but usually the squirrels do not run through here. Back here we have little trellises, and I grew cucumber seeds. We had rain yesterday, going into the early evening, so I didn't have to water these. Only one time did I water these cucumber plants, and I planted these. It was just a few days ago, probably 5 days ago. So they're coming up already. Now we have a strawberry patch over here. This is a small strawberry patch, but it's doing fairly well. We usually give our neighbors the strawberries from this garden. Just right over the fence line, we'll hand them a handful of strawberries. Small one, but we get big ones too. Yeah, we picked so many strawberries through here, and we still got more coming up. So here's one that has yet to bloom. Now this is all berries through here, berry vines and ground berry, which is the strawberry. Now we've got blackberry growing here. I've got 3 blackberry bushes. I wanted to get another one, but the budget may not allow it. So we still have some blooms, but we have some berries that are producing, and these will get very large. The blackberries get very large. So we've got raspberries. And most of these are volunteer raspberries from the neighbor's yard because they have raspberries over there. And we get these volunteers everywhere, even in the vegetable garden. I see little, I don't know if I can see one right now, but yeah, they're real small, little raspberry plants coming up. And I don't want them in the vegetable garden, of course, so I'll pull them from the vegetable garden very carefully because these do have some little stickers, but it's not too bad. I have to wear gloves when I work with the raspberries. The blackberries are thornless, which is great. I prefer thornless berries. And this is our vegetable garden. We have a rhubarb growing, and it's doing very well. Now, one is just tiny and didn't grow very well. I'm going to have to fertilize that one. But this one's doing amazing. I do need to pull some weeds around it. I think it's lemon balm coming up. I have lots of weed pulling to do. That's another reason why I need to get that mulch. But here's some zucchini hills. They're doing very well. Yeah, I think I planted these a couple weeks ago, and they look pretty good. I think I'm going to build another zucchini hill. I still have some time. Right here would be a good spot. And here's our beets. And beet greens are really good for you. My husband doesn't care for them, but I love them. I'm going to let them get bigger, a lot bigger than that before I harvest the beets. As soon as I harvest these, I'll just plant some more seeds. It doesn't get as much sun here, so this would be a good spot for that. But we get enough sun where they can thrive. Now over here is like an herb garden, but I also have some greens growing. And I have like kale, some lettuces, and then we have flowers that came up from last year. These are black-eyed Susans, great for the pollinators. Another little flower is a bachelor button. So I have a mixture of flowers through here, but the herbs that I planted this year by seed are dill. We have cilantro. I'm excited because I love Mexican food. And there's some more cilantro. And then we have shallots. Yeah, I planted shallots back there. I've only got one cone flower, and it's right here. Another one I must have dug up by mistake when I was tilling the garden, because I still do some tilling, but my goal was to work towards no-till method. More daisies. Daisies they just thrive. They get really tall too. These are a lily, a tiger lily, and I planted them over here, and oh, they're ready to bloom pretty soon. Back there is a very small, late blooming white hydrangea that I bought from Menards several years ago. And we look forward to the late blooms on that. And back there are potato plants that I planted a couple months ago. And I'm so excited. This is my first year growing yellow potatoes, I believe. They were so cheap. There was a percentage off, 25% off. I think they were only $1.16 for 6 potato slips. And only cost $1.16 for 6 of them, which is amazing. So this will be cheap. I hope we have a good harvest. And I know the plant is doing very well. I probably should fertilize it. I do have some Miracle-Gro, bone meal, whatever it takes. Oh my goodness, look at that. This is going to be harvested soon, before the month of June is over. I can tell you that. Oh, we're getting scapes. We're getting garlic scapes. I'm going to be harvesting this very soon. Okay, I do have some weeding to do. There's a mulberry bush trying to grow up there, and I need to trim that down. I don't need a mulberry there. We've got lavender here. This has been growing for several years, probably 6 years. When I first started this garden 6 years ago, and it was very small back then. All I had was tomatoes and a few perennials, and one was lavender. And we have one way over there also. But that attracts insects, bees in particular. And we have a strange looking, but it looks better this year than it did last year. We've got lots of blooms. There's a late blooming iris plant. And I believe it's a Siberian iris, and it's doing very well. Look, I don't even know how to describe the color. Kind of a tan with yellow. Oh, looking at it closely, it's very beautiful. But right in the middle, or right next to this plant, I had planted a bulb that usually for annuals that come up every year. Every year I give my sister a bouquet, gladiola. And I didn't expect this to come up, and it did. I'm going to let it grow and see what color it is. That will be exciting. Hopefully it'll be in time for my sister's birthday in July, because I planted some other gladiolas. Sometimes I just nickname them glads. They make me glad when they come up because they're beautiful when they bloom. Okay, and this is a black-eyed Susan. It's great for the pollinators. These are going to be blooming soon. Look at that. It's getting ready to bloom. Black-eyed Susan. Reseeded from last year. Okay. I have more to show you. My goodness, this is going to be a longer video than I expected. Now, right behind me is where I grew our tomatoes, where I planted our tomato plants that we bought from Oakland Nursery. Now, I did not mulch, so it looks pretty muddy, and we do need to mulch a lot earlier than I expected because of the rain. Here we go, and the weeds are the problem in between the rows of the tomatoes. And I did plant marigolds around them. That's to attract the good insects. So we got a little tomato, and we've got little tomatoes growing. So look at this. There we go. Oh, how exciting that is. So I do need to mulch. This is the #1 area where I need to mulch, around the tomatoes. But we also need to mulch around strawberry plants and squash plants, corn plants. I'll put straw around those plants. Straw or hay, whatever they call it. To me, it's the same thing. And now I'm going to talk to you about my garden style. This is the garden style I've always dreamed of, except for not I dreamed of more than what's going on here. Now, don't look at this and think this is my dream come true, because it isn't. It's a work in progress. I am not one that likes rigid structures, and I do not care for too many plants in pots sitting around. I like a natural looking garden, very naturalistic, cottage garden style. That's what I'm aiming for one day. And even as old as I am, I'm hoping that will happen. So you can make your dreams come true when it comes to gardening. And it just takes a little research and lots of creativity. Okay, keep watching me, follow me in this adventure, this garden adventure, and give me all your tips, please. I need them. As you know, I'm not an expert. I'm not the best at speech either. I do not want to spend a lot of money. I want to use natural materials as much as possible. Please like, subscribe, and share. Come back again. And always look at the end, because my ending's usually better than my beginning. That's not the way it's supposed to be. I really don't have the hook yet. If you've been on YouTube a long time, or you have a channel, you know what I'm talking about. God bless each and every one of you. I'll see you on the next one.